Hello there everyone, it's nice to see you. I'm your host Chris Kenner, and today we are looking at the Neon Ninja in the Neon City biome. Unfortunately I haven't got Karma with me today, she's not very well, bless her. But we're going to forge ahead nonetheless, and I'm going to be showing you some of the dungeons here today. So you can see the Neon City's sort of this sort of digital Blade Runner-ish looking city. Lots of sort of diodes and things as the sort of random junk on the ground, and very tight spaces. But I'm playing this as the Neon Ninja today, who's one of the advanced melee classes, and can be a little bit difficult to get to grips with because he actually has a rhythm to his moves. You can just use his standard melee attack like I'm using now, but there is more to him, which I will get into. So, what have we got in here? We've got a ranged enemy. So let's take out these minions and get them out of the way. Now the Neon Ninja, you'll notice those rings building around me. Each time I hit something I get one of those rings, and when I've got 3 I can right click to jump backwards. I go invisible, I'll show you, go sort of invisible, leave a little version of myself, and then I can throw some shurikens, which will automatically crit if I've got all 3 of those rings. Oh goodness, I've picked up a chaos chest. Got some wild cupcakes in it. But that's just my sort of basic combat rhythm with this. He also has, if I show you with this, a sort of a dash through at the enemies and freeze them. And his extra special ability will, if I show you, make my attacks ranged. And these little sort of laser attacks that you can see, are actually destroying the environment. If they hit an enemy that I've frozen with my dash move, then it will actually refresh the freeze on them. Let's show you how much damage this deals with these shurikens. And I've lost the ability. There, shuriken damage. Look how much health that took off. It's a really big chunk, and this is one of the only classes where I've actually specialised into critical damage because of that reason. It's the only one that really utilises it so heavily. So anyway, let's go and find another dungeon that will be interesting and show you some more of this. Okay, well I found this sort of mech looking dungeon. You can see it's got like a, I can show you past my dragon sail, it's got like a gun on top, and you can see its sort of visor there, and its legs. Can't quite remember how to get in. Normally I get in through the top. The neon area is one of the areas where I really see the benefit in trying to stay as high up as possible, because so many of the dungeons involve getting to the top. If you can just fly in on the top, then you can just skip the entire dungeon and just get to the boss who gives you the most experience. Where am I? Just a random room. Is there a way up at the back there? Are you? Oh, there's a way down into the... Here we go, here's the main visor, which is where the boss sits. Now my Neon Ninja can be a little fragile there. I've just used one of my healing potions. I don't have a huge amount of max health as I would on most other sort of axe-to-face melee classes. Which means that what I normally rely on for my healing, which is this little cat who is not visible. Where is my cat? I've got him equipped. There should be a little cat following me around. But it means that for every hit that I do... There, I can see him now. Every hit that I do will heal me for a percentage of my maximum health. And normally I've got enough max health to be able to deal with that. But I think that some of my specialisation into critical damage is taken away from that. Oh, this dungeon's like a tank. And you sort of get in under the turret on the top. A lot of the design here is very sort of uniform and grey. But there can be some very interesting dungeons. These won't stop coming. Ah, and I missed with those shurikens. So, let's just jump up to the top here, because I know that the portal is hiding under here. And this takes us to the main boss room. You can see there's lots of brightly coloured stuff. As I've mentioned in other videos, all of these decorations that you can see, you can craft in the game, using recipes that you pick up. And once you've picked up a recipe, you learn it, and you can craft that thing forever, just using random little craftable bits that you find around. And there's usually a different type of craftable bit per biome. So, where to next? Let's go find another dungeon. There's one to the south. Okay, so that dungeon to the south is cool and all, but this is one of the coolest looking castles in the Neon, I think. It's the sort of big spire that's got these sort of crystals poking out to it. There's a boss in the bottom room right down there. There's a boss right on the top platform, and then a portal will take you inside that central core. And from the bottom room, you're supposed to go up the inside of these spires, and I don't like doing it because it's really awkward, because it's that sort of jumping around in close quarters. It's my only criticism of the dungeon. Let's bash all these as best I can. I can barely see because there's so much going on the screen. I think I beat the boss. Let's destroy everything else I can come across. Ah, they're hurting me. Gotta be careful of all the fireballs that are around this place, and especially if you get too many ranged enemies tacked onto you at once, they can become a real problem. But I managed to take that out. I will... How full's my bag? Yeah, I'm fine. I will show you going up the inside of these spires, but like I said, it's difficult. So you've got these little jump pads on these little platforms, and it's very easy to lose where you've been and fall down. So I've now got to go the other way and then go back this way. And you can try and jump up, but it's so easy to get caught on the underside of one of the platforms that I find it too awkward. And like I said, I prefer to... I prefer to go up the outside. It's just easier. Am I at the end? Yes. So at the end you just sort of come out on the top of one of these spires and get launched across to a golden scarab. This dungeon's also weird in that it doesn't have the standard Neon enemies as the first two bosses. They're always insects, I've found. So like spiders, all those scarabs. But look, you can see I'm up on the top now, and I'm on top of those spires. And there is the portal that I need. So let's go in there, and you drop down inside this central core and fight the real boss. Let's take him out. And just... I haven't frozen him in place. I got caught on the spiders. I'll take him out anyway. Get my loot and get out of here because there's a lot of fire. Okay. But this is a good dungeon to do because it gets you very high up as well. I'll show you. I'm actually now on the top of the spire. This is where I came out and got launched across that central platform. So I can use this as sort of a launching point to then fly to the tops of the other dungeons that you can see around. So let's go find another. I just wanted to stop to show you this. The Halloween event is still on, and this is one of the pumpkins I didn't show you in my video about that. This is the neon pumpkin. It's got such a oddly shaped cartoony face. You do see some very good pixel art done in these, and I'm pretty sure that with the exception of maybe the pumpkins, all of these dungeons are made by users. I'm not sure what sort of split it is across the whole thing. I imagine the developers made some, but you can submit, I think, via a Reddit page, and you can Google it to find out. Let's just dive down here, and that boss appears to be stuck. Oh, there he is. Let's take him out and get some event currency. These chests are in such awkward places. There we go. So these are still a thing. I'm not sure when the event ends. Does it have a... No, it doesn't have a timer listed on it or anything. So yeah, these are still going. Here's a cool looking dungeon. These ones look like something out of Tron. With these sort of spires and the red neon. There's variants of these, like you get ones in blue and yellow and green. Let's just go down this hole. There's lots of plasma around here. Plasma, this blue stuff, I'll show you in a second. I'll hop into it. Now you see the little yellow circle in the bottom right? That's my energy that I use for my abilities. And if I step into plasma, it doesn't hurt me, but it does drain my energy. Although not very quickly. And you get plasma only in the neon. It's throughout some dungeons. You can actually get a special item to pick it up to grow these. I think they're just plasma sponges, and they will allow you to basically throw it at some plasma and then pick the plasma up to be placed in your club world, which is sort of like your guild. And an interesting thing this game does with guilds is and the clubs rather, is that you can be a member of 5 of them at once. So in something like World of Warcraft, you can only be in 1 guild. In this, you can be in 5, and they're just setting up a rollout for a new update, which will improve that. This is one of the Cursed Skulls challenges, where there's just a swarm of enemies, and because I've got such big sweeping attacks, I can cut through so many of these at once. And they're also feeble, but they don't stick up to one attack. Those tend to be more of a problem for classes that don't have an area of effect attack, which I struggle to think of any that will have a serious problem with it. Anyway, let's go and look at another dungeon. This dungeon's pretty cool. I'll have to fly up to show you it properly, but it's shaped like a video games console with controllers with little joysticks. But it's weird, because the way that you get in, you wouldn't necessarily know, because if you've experienced this game, you'd know that dungeon blocks are unbreakable, with the exception of glass, though, is the thing. And that's how you get in. You have to break the glass at the top here. If you've got a dragon, you can blow a hole in it, or any dungeon block, and you can use bombs. But if you're short on both of those things, you can just use your regular mining to be able to break through that glass at the top. So there's always one boss in this room, and then there's 2 routes to take. You can go that way or that way, and I'm going to go this way. You hop on your mag rider, if you've got one, and then you can zip along here. Ooh. And fall to the bottom. And this room, this has sort of like, you can see the game controller built into the floor, and this is set up like an arcade cabinet to deal with these. And you can see like a sort of Donkey Kong-esque thing where you got to run up the platforms behind here. If I go through this flaming portal, I've got to jump over more of the fire, and then change direction, deal with the enemy. And I imagine this is very cool to watch from the outside. I never remember if I can fall down those gaps. I could have sworn I have done on occasion, but I don't know if that's because my attacks have destroyed the glass. Actually, just gonna hop over the top here, ignore that guy, and just fine. If you want to fight, I will give you a fight. So cramped. Did he just bust? He just busted the wall. Huh. That might explain why I keep falling down. Anyway, let's run down here. And this is just going to chuck me out in a maze. I've done this dungeon a lot. In fact, to be able to unlock this class, I had to play through a huge amount of the neon, because I needed 500 of a resource that these enemies rarely drop, called robotic salvage. And he did so much of it. There's another boss around here. Is that the same one that's just moved through a wall? It's taking a bit of damage. Let's just try and take it out. In the middle of this dungeon somewhere, there should be another boss, which is the actual second boss of this dungeon. There's so much stuff on the right hand side of the screen. I should not have started this during a racing challenge. Oh, it's taking him out. The racing challenge is almost over, actually. That is exactly what it sounds like, a race through checkpoint. And it's really difficult because you've got to pay really close attention to get all of them. Because if you haven't got all of them, you don't finish the race. So much damage. I've got 15, well, at maximum I have 15 of these vials, which will, they're an automatic one, they're the only one that does it. They will automatically replenish my health. You can see it there, the death-defying vial. They'll automatically replenish 30% of my health, but then I've also got something that means that my health regeneration is boosted for a little while afterwards, and I get an invulnerability shield, so it actually heals me quite a bit more. And it just makes the game so much easier, because otherwise you have to pay such close attention to your health, whereas this allows me to just ignore it until I run out of vials, and I can keep 15 at a maximum. So I do advise, if you're going to play this game, get a hold of those. They don't cost any money, I don't think. Where are they? Are they in more? They're in the store page. Yeah, here we go. So I own the death-defying vial, and I saved up qubits for it. And you can get 500 of those a day if you do a few little quests. So let's go look at some more dungeons. Okay, I found this castle. This is probably the highest castle dungeon. Most dungeons have various sections hidden underground, although if you've seen the giant tree that's in the medieval highlands. That one's similar to this. But you go up and there's just these little bubbles, which are like mini biomes. I think there's like ice ones and lava ones and all sorts of things. And the bosses are just scattered between them, and you can use these little platforms to climb up. So you can see there's a little ice biome. They're still populated by the standard enemies, although I can see a boss enemy in there. Are you an actual boss? No, it's just like one of the randomly spawned ones. Although rather appropriately, he drops ice from the ceiling, which leaves these icy patches on the floor. So if I move, I actually slide quite a ways. That's thematically appropriate. I wonder if that's set up just so. Yeah, there's loads of these, so you can see some ice ones. Let's find one that's got some greenery in it. Oh, this one's lava, look. And it's got little decorations, little lava cubes. What is that? A spider. A robo spider. It's a squished robo spider. And it's just got a nice little variety, and there's all these sort of energy pylons and warning signs and things. I'm trying to find where the bosses for this place are. It's not one of those. Try and keep a close eye on what's in there. It's got a nice sort of little variety of environment, like a desert Stonehenge in there. I'm also trying to keep an eye on the right, because you can tell when you're close-ish, because a little notification will come up there to kill something. There's just like a green garden biome. There's another one there. Oops, nearly fell off. It's like a solar panel. I like the decoration of this one just because it's so out in the open, and it's this big open space that you can play with. It's like a fairy forest there. Oh, I missed all the bosses. Oh, no. One of them's already dead. I wonder if that means... Is there another player in here? No. I've seen that one of the dungeons nearby was already completed. So I wonder if someone got part way up here and had to go. Oh, that's a shame. For them, I mean. For us, it's just made it easier. And I can just get right to the top, and there's quite a simple little room. That boss just got catapulted across the other side of the room. These jump pads do mess with the enemies quite a bit. Ah, I am taking a lot of damage. There you can see my invulnerability shield came up. Still beat him in the end. This one's interesting. The fireballs from the edges of the screen will actually open the chest for you. So you don't have to get too close. My inventory's full? Where did I pick up all this nonsense? Oh, well, there's nothing in there that's worth replacing with that. I'm actually going to go not out of the orange portal, because I think it'll take me back down to the ground, but rather outside of the purple portal, which takes me back to the top. So then I can use it to explore. So I'll clear out my inventory, and then we'll do one more dungeon. This is a particularly good dungeon. It's shaped like an arcade cabinet. Look, you can see the... Whoop, don't fall off. You can see the controllers at the front, and then the inside of the cabinet. And you actually get in down this little sort of coin slot prize chute at the bottom. Let's just take these out. But this is proof that these are randomly generated. That's just one of the vertical buildings, which is sort of like the trees of this area. And it's just spawned through the side of the dungeon. It's very rare that that becomes a serious issue in this. You don't often get a tree that's just broken the world, and even if you do, you can just use your standard mining to get through it. But all of these are just placed randomly using some generation logic. So let's get through into the top room. Oh, it's a ranged enemy. It's called the Aerotron aimbot. Take him out. If I can actually get my shurikens to hit, they do a huge amount of damage. I'm just not very accurate with them. There we go. That's that beaten. That's the way out. Where do I come out with this? Oh, just at the bottom in front of the dungeon. Okay. Let's do one more. There's one more castle I want to show you, and I will find that, and then we will do that. I just want to show you the outside of this dungeon. It's a giant Rubik's Cube. I'm not going to play it. I want you to get this game. It's completely free, and then you can play it, and you can explore this for the first time for yourself. Because that's a very fun dungeon to go through. There's references to Portal in there, and there's actually 2 variations of it, so it'll be interesting to see which one you get. So please do give this a go. another thing I found on my hunt is this dungeon. This dungeon isn't tied to a particular biome. You just automatically get a reward if you get 3 people here at once, and it just automatically drops a reward in front of you and gives you some experience. It's one of those things that's designed to encourage you to play with friends. I've found it. It's shaped like a pinball table, a Trove pinball table. Can you imagine the amount of work that went into building this? It's even got a little sort of one of the local enemies' faces as like a trophy up the top. So I'm going to show you a little bit of this dungeon, because there's kind of a special way to do it that makes it less of a pain. It's a frustrating maze in here otherwise. So you sort of go in at the front as you normally would. Just run around taking out these as best you can. There's quite a lot of enemies straight away, and it's kind of showing up that I'm not as powerful as I would like to be, and I don't have as much health as I would like for this area. But as you work your way through, do it quite carefully so I don't get killed by all the fire that's everywhere, you will eventually get to the boss. Take him out. I just completely missed with my shurikens. And again. Let's get rid of him. He spawns spiders as his thing. If I get my attack speed boost, then that snuck up on me. If you can get the attack speed boost from having the Lunar Lancer as a subclass, it gives me just enough attack speed to be able to keep my health up. So beat that boss, and you can get through this portal from like the ball launcher, and you end up right at the top of the table. And there is a boss here somewhere. Let's take out these minions first. Oh, that is the boss. That little propeller. Whoop, let's not fall off. Oh, and he spawns mushrooms. Spawn all of the things. Okay, let's get that chest. Now, here's the awkward bit. So, you can stand on these platforms and they will disintegrate, and you can go down there into a maze, which, you know, all well and good. But, since we're now at the top of the board, I'm going to jump off, is what I'm going to do, and get down here. You do take fall damage, so just try and do a couple of jumps before you land at the bottom. And you can see the inside of the pinball table, and at the end here is the boss. And as I said in an earlier dungeon, you can break through dungeon blocks if they are glass. So rather than going through that really awkward maze, I can actually just mine through the top here and drop in. And I've completely bypassed a sort of very difficult and claustrophobic section of this dungeon. You've got to be careful of these jump pads because they will send you flying around. There's a lot of enemies around here who can very quickly gang up on you. You just got to play a little carefully. Let's take this guy out. Beat him. Let's get rid of the spiders. And that's my loot. I'm just gonna get out of the dungeon. End up just sort of outside. Let's hop off to one side. So yeah, that has been the Neon Ninja and the Neon City biome. So thank you guys all for watching. If you like the look of the game, please do give it a download. It's completely free. I've got a link in the description. Leave a like on the video and subscribe if you want to see more. And hopefully we shall see you next time. Bye.